So I'm Susanne Jaschko and I'm the curator of the Urban Screens Conference and the Arts and Events Programme in Manchester. It was brought to Manchester by the Corner House and the BBC. So after the last conference, which happened in Amsterdam in 2005, they actually got together and thought it would be a great idea to bring this whole event to Manchester. Because I think Manchester was the first place or the first city which had a big screen, one of the BBC big screens. So the BBC had a real interest in looking into the subject of urban screens, not only from their kind of broadcasting perspective and with all their knowledge, but kind of creating this environment of this conference to actually have a really broad spectrum of thoughts and a really big spectrum of expertise in this field. And to me, as a curator of this event, it was really crucial to bring together like the whole spectrum of people who work with these urban screens. So we have curators, we had architects, planners, so to say, media experts, broadcasters, people who deal with, new models of broadcasting, who are also have an expertise in everything that goes on the internet. And so altogether, I think we had a really good selection of people looking at this specific phenomenon from a variety of perspectives.
I've heard two really interesting speakers that kind of took the heritage of the kind of big screen as it is today, right back into the 18th century, and advertising billboards and information art and all that area. So that was quite good. It kind of, contextualised big screens as a kind of site for social dialogue and also as a site for advertising and where art sits within that. And they also gave us a lot of information about sky projections and mirror projections and carnival and all that kind of stuff which is related to celebrations and using art in outdoor spaces.
My name's Jay Redman. I'm an artist, an activist, and I've been speaking at the Urban Screens Conference advocating all you new media artists and activists to get out there and tear down the screens. I'm a climate change activist and I'm forever being told to turn my television off standby, and frankly it seems strange to me that we're then going to stick a load of TVs in the street that we can't switch off.
I think it's interesting to look at responsive environments, and I think it would be a great pity if the big screens become public television. But I think it's about the content. I think it's about the content, and I think it's the way that they're connected to communities and how they're used.
I think it depends who is operating the screens. At least the BBC screens don't show any form of commercial content. We try and allow anyone access, subject to certain guidelines, obviously. But there is a proliferation right now of advertising screens. I can certainly see why people would be angry about that, and I do feel quite angry about that myself. And it makes me feel uneasy sometimes to be even associated with the whole urban screens thing in general. But I know that the projects that I work on, we're trying to get everyone involved, very much kind of power to the people and at no cost.
I do believe that these screens have to be public, more public than there are now. Very often now they are just broadcasting channels for art or for TV content. With the Arts and Events Programme, we try to really examine and exemplify what could be done with urban screens, and we put out a big program. Basically, it's 24 hours. It runs for 4 days of all kinds of screen-based art and non-commercial content.
This is All Saints Square, Grosvenor Square off Oxford Road in Manchester. It's one of 3 screen sites for the 4-day period. With the Arts and Events Programme, we're aiming for a balance if we can. We've got lots of kind of really interesting yet abstract artworks, but we also want things that people can also kind of engage with immediately in place. We've got a mixture of professional video art. We've also got kind of some really exciting kind of funky playable games, and some kind of like quite stuntish events as well, and activities that anybody can just get involved with and then peel off when they're tired of that. So for example, this evening we've got an outdoor tour through the city in which we screen 9 films at 7 secret locations using portable projector equipment, and again people can just join that and then just leave as they wish.
we have to be really, really careful about how we design our urban environment, and that it needs people who really take a stance and have a clear vision of what the cultural value then really is of these screens for the community.